This is food. This is beans.
Holy baloney! What a goal! What a goal!
So Thunderbolts, Adrian, what did you think of the new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie following a misfit band of characters, including John Walker, played by Wyatt Russell. We got Hannah John Kamen, playing Ghost.
Common?
It's like
I
believe so.
I feel like it's Cayman.
Pretty sure it's Common. You look it up. And then it's Florence Pugh's character Yelena Belova, and then Alexei Red Guardian dude. I don't know Alexi's last name, but David Harbour is in it as well, which is excellent. And of course, Sebastian Stan playing Bucky Barnes, aka Winter Soldier. They all come together and they're gonna potentially save the world. What did you think of this film?
Hannah John Kamen.
What's up? What's up?
I don't think that's correct.
Shout out to me.
I don't think it's
Shout
right.
out to me.
Sorry, you trusting Google?
Yeah.
Okay.
They never get anything wrong, Simon. But no, I thought this movie was really good, man. I would go as far as to say that this movie was great. It is, just following this ragtag group of people. Shouldn't be getting along, but somehow they work well together. Not exactly, but it's a unique Marvel movie. I feel like it doesn't really follow any typical Marvel formula. It feels like it takes place in the universe and fits in very well without relying on everything else that is happening before it or after it or around it. I thought it was really
it
good.
Does a little bit. At
But
least all the characters are from literally something else. None of them are introduced
obviously,
except for one guy, pretty much.
Yeah, I guess so. But you know what I mean? Like, you can go into this and just kind of enjoy it for what it is my point.
Sure.
I think it's, well shot, well directed. I think the cast is really great and they have great chemistry. I love like John Walker as a character. And I think Wyatt Russell plays him incredibly well. Florence Pugh is a delight. Like, she's amazing in everything she's in. And I really like watching her in this. And David Harbour is genuinely hilarious in this movie. Like, I was geeking out multiple times. His portrayal of Red Guardian is up there. But again, I don't think there's necessarily a weak link in that main cast of characters.
No.
Other than, I guess I could say like Taskmaster is the weakest link. Part of that
to mention her.
Part of that gang of Thunderbolts. We do get a definitive answer as to what happens to Taskmaster. I'm excited to get into that with you, Simon. Because it's not what some people may expect, honestly.
Right. Of course.
And I really enjoyed this, man. I think it's awesome. And again, it's very like actually emotional. Like, it kind of got me at a couple points. It deals with like depression, and drug addiction in a way that is kind of interesting to be, put into like a MCU movie, which is usually like, woohoo, quippy. And this one doesn't really follow that same formula. I think this is great. And it's kind of nice to have an MCU movie again. That's kind of like a return to form, and something that's good. And I'm hoping that this is the start of getting some consistently good MCU movies, as opposed to, you never know what you're going to get, these days with like Ant-Man, Quantumania, the Marvels, Captain America, the fourth Captain America. It's Sam now. It's just so inconsistent, and I'm hoping we can finally find some consistency in these, not only the releases, but just the universe as a whole.
Yeah, that's fair. I would agree. I think Florence Pugh is a standout, personally. I think she's the biggest standout of this movie in general. But these characters are so lovable, and as you said, it like this movie made me very emotional. But it's like it's got a serious emotional resonance throughout. I thought it was, I don't know. I think it's excellent. It's one of my favorites. It's at least the top third of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Set of movies for sure. I also think Julia Louis-Dreyfus is really great as well. But yeah, it's great. I wonder if the trailer revealed too much, though. Speaking of trailers earlier that revealed too
Mhm.
much, I'm curious about what you thought about that. I don't know why I felt like that, but the more the movie went on, I was kind of waiting for certain scenes that I remembered in the trailer, and it kind of bothered me. It's like this is
Mhm.
maybe it's like a consequence of us being too tuned into it on a
Mhm.
consistent basis, which is kind of crappy, I suppose. But yeah,
Yeah, I get where you're coming from there. I think the trailer did a good enough job kind of rearranging scenes from the movie, but it does
yeah,
show a lot of things from the latter half of the film. Um, but I don't necessarily think it like fully reveals the story and kind of the outcome. I do think like them doing that big Avengers Doomsday cast reveal did this movie a disservice in the sense of literally all of those characters are back in the next movie. So it gets rid of this sense of like worry for the characters. There are still surprises, which again we'll get into. But I found myself kind of like, oh yeah, everyone's gonna be fine because they're in the next one because we already know this, right?
yeah. The cast
Whether
was
it's
announced for Doomsday.
whether it's the same character or a different version of them, we don't know for sure. But again, you can kind of make assumptions based on that. So I do feel like that is kind of shitty. But I think the MCU was on such a low, especially after Captain America, the fourth one. I forget the name. I literally cannot remember. Brave New World.
Yeah,
Um, and I think they needed something to drum up hype again about this movie. Um, and I don't know if it's going to work fully. Like I know you mentioned it had $11 million opening, cool, for the first night, but like again, our theater was more than half empty, which is crazy for an MCU movie on opening night. Like I was worried that we wouldn't get tickets, but like I bought tickets only a couple days prior, and there was literally only like 8 other seats sold.
it's not a good example though, because like I don't know if we talked about this before, but the theater near us, we've got two theaters. One of them flooded, and that flooded theater, people probably still don't know it's open, dude. It's just like
Maybe.
it's not open according to like it doesn't. That theater has not been busy every time we've gone. We've gone there three times, I think, or twice.
Definitely
Three.
for Warfare and this
Yeah,
one.
it wasn't busy both times. We were
Yeah.
there on the weekend pretty much, and one for a preview. So, and Woodlawn,
Yeah.
like the Woodlawn Theater, was incredibly busy for the Minecraft movie. I don't know. I think
Minecraft.
I have a feeling people just didn't know this is out or
Yeah.
something along those lines. But $11 million to start for a $70 million expectation is not bad at all.
Awful.
I don't
Yeah.
know. That seems like it's going to hit, but we'll see.
I hope so. I hope so. Like I hope this movie does well because I don't want them to get the wrong idea. Because I like this cast of characters. I want to see this cast of characters return and
They have
follow
incredible
this
chemistry.
group.
It's
All of
definitely,
them.
yeah, it's very good. The chemistry is really solid. And again, what you talked about earlier is like the idea of dealing with mental health in such a serious way in a Marvel movie, I think is pretty awesome. And they took some big swings for sure. I think that Jake Schreier, the director, who's the director of Beef, honestly, anything that that guy throws at me at this point, like anything he makes, I'm gonna
You'll
watch.
eat.
I think I'll. What?
You'll eat.
I didn't say cooks.
Well, he makes. You'll eat. He did beef. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, he did beef.
Come
Yeah, I
on,
guess so.
man.
All right.
Ah, gotta
That was
explain things for you. You
Are
okay?
you in? Wait, hold on a second. Are you in the dark? Are you
It's been
sitting in the
getting
dark?
darker. Yeah, it's been getting darker here.
Do you have a light on at all, or you
My
know you're on
monitor.
camera, right? Your camera's not good enough for this shit.
It was like it was bright, but we're recording and the sun has been setting.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see.
Prep your environment before you record.
Oh,
Jesus Christ!
flashbang myself, dude.
What is that? Is that like a ring
It's
light?
a ring light.
You have a ring light? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You want me to send
Cool.
you a picture of it?
No, I'm good. I'm good. I was like, what is this advertisement?
I'll send it to you.
You're advertising PlayStation while we're recording. Okay.
Oh, you gave
Yeah.
me this, Simon.
Yeah, I did.
Because you're a nice friend.
But yeah, lovable characters. I thought one of the stunts is excellent. The one that they advertised before the movie happened as well. I will say my one negative that I would like to point out, as I feel like they still don't got the power metrics down pat for the freaking MCU. I don't know why this is a problem. It's not that complicated. Just hire a guy, hire one man to deal with this. It's not that difficult. Kevin Feige, hello, buddy, to figure this out. It's very annoying. Every single movie is going to be like this. They have one of the biggest tentpole movies coming out in Doomsday. They've got so many characters in that. I think the Russo brothers know what they're doing, so they're not going to make this mistake. But this is a serious issue at this point because they keep making the same mistake every time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I really like this movie a lot. Yeah, okay. Do you want to move on?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we can talk about is, we got to the theater. It was supposed to be a 3-dimensional movie.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the theater. We got our 3D glasses, and we sit down. It says, put on your 3D glasses.
Yeah.
And we're like a minute, maybe 2 minutes into the movie, and I'm sitting there, and I pulled down my glasses, and I'm like, it's not 3D. And I turned to our good pal Ken, who came with us. I said, Ken, it's not in 3D. You want to take off your glasses just so I'm not crazy? And he takes off his glasses. Then you take off your glasses. And I kept on looking around the theater. And most people kept their glasses on for the vast majority of the movie. Eventually, like about the halfway point, I started noticing fewer and fewer glasses on. I think people were cluing in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt bad because it was like the end of the day, like the only showing of that movie, and we left. And like we had to tell the manager, it's like, hey man, like the 3D is off. You should check it out for the future. I bought a large popcorn. They're doing the free popcorn refill, so I wanted my popcorn refill. But yeah, like we were gonna tell him, and then we got complimentary movie tickets.
Yeah,
because of that.
Nice.
That was not my goal. I just wanted him to turn it on for the next showing. I just wanted popcorn. We got free movie tickets. That's what we're using towards Fantastic Four now. We got our Fantastic Four tickets purchased. I already did it.
You already did it?
No, I didn't.
I don't know if you can use those tickets for that. So there's just a piece of paper.
There's a coupon code.
Oh, there is? Oh, maybe then it can be used online. Okay.
That's what Ken said.
I stand corrected.
That's what Ken said. I'm going to believe Ken. I don't know. I didn't try it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to be a problem in every other theater. It's just something in this theater. And this is probably because, again, they just opened and there's growing pains for them for this reopening. So that's kind of the issue in the theater we went to. But yeah, it was kind of nice that we got the tickets. It's kind of good. But yeah, hopefully they fix it for the next one. Because that was the flattest 3D movie I've ever watched. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, incredible. What a joke.
That was good. That was a good one, dude. That was a good one.
Yikes. Okay. All right. Let's move on now, Adrian. To spoilers, let's spoil this baby. Let's spoil Thunderbolts asterisk. And I'm just gonna bow down to you and just throw it to you because I know there's something you've been wanting to say for a long time.
Yeah,
there's something you're like, this character is not around. What's happening? You've said this every week for the last 5 weeks. Every time we see the Thunderbolts trailer in a movie before the movie airs, you say this. So just take it away.
Yeah, Taskmaster's fucking dead, dude. She dies actually like shockingly early. I knew she was gonna die, but I did not expect her to die that quickly. Like it was within the first 10 minutes of the movie. Literally,
it was kind of disrespectful. I think
it was shocking. She just gets shot in the fucking face by Ghost, just out of nowhere. You
win though. You win, okay? Yeah. You win. God damn it!
Oh my goodness, dude. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty shocking. But I was sitting there thinking, like, it is kind of a waste, man. Like, this is a cool character that you could use in other movies. Even like just put that character in like a Spider-Man movie. Like that'd be cool. Like, something more. Because I'm thinking about Spider-Man, like the PS4 game, the first one. There's like those Taskmaster missions. Those are cool. And I feel like you could have done a lot with this character. But yeah, no, they just headshotted her in the first like 10 minutes of the movie. It was crazy. When that happened, I was like, holy shit. She literally like takes off her mask and she's like, I'm not here for you. And then BOM! Just headshotted by Ghost. It was cool. I do like the almost level of like brutality in these people. Like they're all murderers. They're not like trying to, like they don't view themselves as heroes, at least in the beginning, other than John Walker, I would say.
Right.
Who thinks that he's like a good guy, even though he kind of sucks and literally murdered someone in broad daylight. And I do like that they reference those past situations and just are assholes to one another. I think that goes very well. Again, like you said, the chemistry is very good in the movie. But yeah, I think this movie did like a couple of shocking things, and I think again the most shocking one is something that I already knew about, and it's that Taskmaster gets shot in the fucking face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's also the fact that they're the new Avengers. That was probably the most shocking thing for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a interesting choice.
Mhm.
I love it though. I
Mhm.
love the gag of it. I just think it's great.
Yeah.
I also really like Julia Louis-Dreyfus and the fact that she got out of that situation somehow so masterfully. It's
Mhm.
great. She's a really manipulative character who's always really happy. She's the happiest villain in the MCU. She's just
Mhm.
always manipulating people in the most cheerful way possible. What's her name? Allegra de Fontaine. What's her first name? Do you remember?
Allegra seems right.
No, it's not. Allegra's the middle name. Anyway, it's de Fontaine, okay?
Valentina.
It's not fence, it's defense.
Yeah, it's
So-
Valentina, right?
Valentina. Yeah, Allegra de Fontaine. But yeah, she's really great. I thought she was awesome in the whole thing. And I thought the new Avengers thing is an interesting spin. And I feel like it has more. And I know you were saying that you don't need this movie for the rest of the MCU, or you don't need the rest of the MCU for this movie necessarily. But I feel like this movie had bigger implications by far than Cap 4.
Oh yeah,
Which is
100%.
Because they left
reference the
something-
events.
Right. They referenced events of other movies, but they take everything that happens at the end. By the end of it, there's a fundamental change in the MCU, which I really
Mhm.
appreciate. It reminds me of like Winter Soldier had like major implications for the rest of the MCU. And
Mhm.
it showed in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, actually, in a
Mhm.
way, although I don't know, that ended up not being canon, which sucks. But if I recall correctly, right, they said the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show wasn't canon after. Wasn't that what they said?
I don't think they said that, did they?
They put that on the outskirts, I think, and that's why I
Oh.
didn't finish it.
Oh.
It's been a while, but yeah. Despite that, there was like the fact that they made them the new Avengers, and that end credit scene, by the way, that end credit sequence or not end credit scene, but the end credits in general, where they were
Mhm.
showing off like concept art for the movie, and they had like John Walker riding his bent shield. I thought was
Mhm.
hilarious. There was like a lot of really cool like headlines there from newspapers, people doubting that they could possibly be the new Avengers,
Mhm.
which I appreciate as well. But yeah, so that part is really neat, and
Yeah.
we found out what the asterisk is. I guess I thought the asterisk throughout the movie was that it's Shane's Electronics, sponsored by Shane's Electronics, because it's an asterisk.
Yes.
Or whatever the other sponsorship that they were confused with. They were confusing two different sponsorships. One was Shane's Electronics, and then the other, I don't remember the other one. But then the asterisk, I guess, could be actually they're the new Avengers.
Yeah.
I guess I like the Shane's Avengers, Shane's Electronics thing. It's funnier, but yeah. Also, girl pooped midfield, so
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, there's a lot of really good jokes in the movie, and again, I think David Harbour's delivery on a lot of them is really great.
amazing. It's David Harbour and Florence Pugh's show in a large way, especially Florence Pugh, which I think the movie is largely focused on. It starts with her. She jumps off a building, the second tallest building in the world, that she did for real as a stunt. That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. I think that especially their emotional scene in like about the 3/4 way mark in the movie. I think that was really, I teared up multiple times watching this, honestly. I don't know if you did as well, but I just found it, I don't know, very relatable. I feel like I've been struggling with my mental health too. So like on a relatability perspective with Bob's character and seeing how that works. But
yeah,
all
we're
of them
we're kind of jumping the gun here. So like the premise of the movie is Valentina de Fontaine, she's like in Congress, and then she has like a
I mean, this is a
separate
spoiler
company.
cast, but yeah,
like she has a separate company, and pretty much she sends the cast of characters into like the final area that she's planning on essentially incinerating with all the evidence of, you know, all the illegal shit that she's been up to. And when the cast gets there, she tells each of them that they have to kill one another, but they don't know that's the case. She promises them things, and that's why Ghost shoots Taskmaster in the face. And when they're in this building, I guess deep underground, Bob is there, and he falls out of a coffin, like essentially. And they find out that, you know, Valentina, she's been doing this thing called the Sentry Program and just testing on human beings. Bob was this guy that was in Malaysia. That's like a former meth addict that like deals with like bipolar disorder, I think. Like
He's a meth addict?
Yeah.
They said meth?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember them mentioning what drug he was
They say
taking
meth
at any
twice.
point.
Yeah,
Oh,
when
okay.
he's when he talks about when he's in the chicken suit, how he's on meth, like flipping signs and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they mention that twice. So he's like a drug addict. So again, they deal with like pretty deep, things and how he's struggled with mental health. So long story short, they find him and they escape from this building. And Valentina, takes Bob and tells him like, hey, you're special. There's something inside you. I see the greatness. And then he becomes Sentry. And this is kind of what you were talking about, where the power dynamic is wild, because he is essentially the power of Superman, fighting these people that are, I think in the world's like in their words, they say like, all we do is shoot people. And for, he's pulling his punches when he's fighting them, but it still is like pretty brutal. And yeah, like, again, he's like struggling with his like darker half, and he ends up being, I guess, the villain, the Void, as well. And like, he's like takes over the world, and the effects of the Void is really cool. How he's essentially just this black outline of a person with these creepy ass eyes. I was like, that's really awesome, dude. I thought that was fantastic.
He's like the absence of light. Like, he absorbs all. It
mm-hmm.
seems like that's kind of the idea of the way it's built. It's more than an outline. It's pretty good CG. Solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really liked it. And again, it's essentially like, that his darker half that he's been pushing down, that's become like the Void inside of him. And I do really love that essentially the power of friendship saves the day. To like stop him from like killing a bunch of people and destroying New York City. They just tell him like, hey, you're not alone, man. We love you. We're going to be your friends.
It's intriguing because it in some ways this movie is following in the footsteps of, it's almost not a parody of it, but it's almost the Marvel formula in exactly the way we describe the Marvel formula. This idea of it's Bob's origin story, and he's this broken person who's thrust into this leadership position that he's not ready for, and he's really reluctant and he doesn't want to do it. And just like Iron Man, Ant-Man, Black Panther, it's the same kind of story. And they get to the point where he's fighting his own demons. And in Iron Man, he fights a guy who's like himself to fight his own demons. He literally fights himself. His own demons is what he's fighting. Literally. Mm-hmm. That metaphor is really cool. I thought that was really neat. It's such a interesting moment. And then of course they solve it by the hug aspect of it, which is, I don't know. It's just something really heartfelt about the overall thing, but this idea of like them tackling these concepts and themes of loneliness and depression. I don't know. Like it's much deeper than the average Marvel movie for sure. And I appreciate that, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people, just based on the percentages of people with mental health struggles that are watching this, that have mental health struggles. The people watching this who might like say this is kind of a film for me in some capacity. They might relate to this idea that it's not all sunshine and rainbows for all of these magical superheroes. It's not all optimism. Not that if you look at even like Spider-Man, like Tom Holland's Spider-Man has dealt with a lot of problems as well, but there's still this aspect that they never quite deal with the mental health. It's kind of like dived into in a more surface level. Spider-Man's actually probably the worst example, because I feel like it's the one that dives into it in the deepest way in comparison to all of the other Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I think the one that does it the worst, and I'll say this to my dying breath, is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which I feel like deals with mental health in the worst possible way possible. I think it's like horrible. It's badly written, in my opinion. But this is the opposite.
Yeah. What's the message? Cool. Doctor Strange, just kill yourself.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. It's actually, it's really messed up.
It's bad. And then not only that, but their friendship idea is the opposite. We're not friends. We don't care. You help to save the world. We don't care. And this is ridiculous. It's horrible. And it's like, at the end of the day, no one even cared about this person. They're just like, oh, but am I okay? Guys, like, read the room. It's horrible. It's just a bad plot. People complain about that movie for many other reasons. I look at it on a much deeper plot level. It's like on a character development level, it's not good. On a character development level in this movie, though, every single character, from my perspective, had a spot in the sunshine. There's a spot. They all had their spotlight. which I really appreciated. There's like these moments with like John Walker as an example, and there's a reveal that his wife and daughter leaves him, and then they specifically, like, Jake Schreier shoots specifically John Walker and Florence Pugh Yelena Belova, and you watch them, like, her look on her face. Her acting in this movie is so good. It's really, really good. They brought their all, like all of the cast. They brought their all to this, and like the relationship between them. It again. It's funny they did that advertisement about it being like an A24 cast and an A24 production team and an A24 director, and it kind of shows. Honestly, it's just a deeper movie in a lot of ways, and it doesn't just feel like they're just going through the motions and they're just gonna like get to the next set piece. Like, let's get to the next action sequence. It feels like the action is dictated largely by the plot, and I really appreciate that. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. It's it's nice. It's refreshing to have something this high quality in the MCU, because I feel like
we do have that, though, and you believe that too. Let's set the record straight. Like, we do have a lot of that. Like,
I think The Eternals is actually one of those movies. I know people don't really like it, but The Eternals, like, I feel like is a special MCU movie. I really like that movie. But yeah, I think just like from a quality perspective, in almost every aspect, I think this kind of exceeds a lot of the previous movies. And I do agree with you. This is for sure in the top third of MCU movies, and from a quality perspective, and even just for how much I liked it. But again, I think especially coming off of Falcon, Captain Falcon, the last Captain America movie, whatever the fuck it's called.
Captain Falcon Bravely Leaves the Nest, right?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Like, it's a breath of fresh air, and I'm really hoping that Fantastic Four is a good movie. But one thing that we didn't mention in that after credits scene, where it's revealed that they're the new Avengers, they're in Avengers Tower. It's really cool. Like, it's, I think 14 months later is when it says that it takes place. And apparently Bucky and Sam are fighting. Like, Sam is making his own Avengers and sues them for copyright infringement, which I find really funny, for taking the name Avengers. And then David Harbour's like, oh, we could be Avengers with a Z, like a Z at the end. Yeah. I thought that was really cool. And for the first time in however many movies, it's not an after credit scene of, oh my God, there's a signal coming in space. There's a big bad coming our way. This time it's like, oh, there's a signal coming from space. It's about to land on Earth, and it's the Fantastic Four ship. Yeah. Which kind of gives a lot of implications onto how the Fantastic Four ends. And I want to talk to you about that a little bit. And I'm curious. Sure. The Fantastic Four, that's a separate universe. They're coming to the main MCU universe. And we see them teleporting in here in a space shuttle. Do you think the Fantastic Four movie is going to end with Galactus literally winning and just destroying their universe, and they have to escape?
That's a hot take. That's pretty smart. Yeah, maybe. That's possible. Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. And they have to come to a different Earth through interdimensional travel. Yeah, that's very possible. That's smart.
Because that's what I immediately started thinking when I saw that. I'm like, huh. Like, what
a cool ending that would be. It's like going to be like almost like I don't want to spoil it, but there's a certain Star Wars thing that that kind of does something dark like that. But you wouldn't expect Star Wars to do that. You wouldn't expect the MCU to do that. Actually, I guess you wouldn't expect it until Infinity War. But it's just that aspect of that dark aspect of the villain winning, which hasn't really happened too much in the MCU, is really cool. So yeah, that would be neat. I'm into that.
Yeah.
It's a good prediction. Well done.
Thank you, Simon. We'll full
see.
of them.
We'll see what happens.
Like Taskmaster dying.
Like that Taskmaster. Right. Yeah, that one was fairly obvious. I was trying to be optimistic when I was predicting that she didn't die, but yeah. Because also it's too obvious as well. Like, it's a bit too obvious. Like, you hope that she's not going to die like that. She died way like too fast. And like, again, she's a kind of a cooler character. So yeah, it's kind of too bad. Oh, well. I don't know if you heard me, but we were like halfway through the movie, and I leaned over to our pal Ken, and I was just like,
Do you think Taskmaster's coming back?
Oh, I heard you. I looked
Just
you
as
right
a
in the
bit.
eye.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you did. I just wanted to make sure you said it out loud.
It's ridiculous. You could have just said, and you looked me in the eye, and I would have admitted it. What, you thought I wasn't going to admit it? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Come on.
But yeah, okay. So here's the thing about the power metric. So I'll go into some of the negatives. I don't have too many negatives on this movie. I thought it was really great. I will say, are you going somewhere?
I'm still here.
Are you not wearing pants?
Me?
You were on camera,
No.
right? Okay, thank God.
This short.
That's good. Anyway, so yeah, so the negatives I have, you mentioned the power metrics about Bob. That's actually not what I was going to point out at all.
Oh,
Not at all.
really?
So the beginning fight scene, there's a lot of super soldiers. Oh, there's one specifically fighting a regular human. The problem with that is that if you have like a super soldier trying to kill a regular human and you have them hit that person, their bones are broken.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if he can, apparently, I've never even seen Cap do this. He can jump like 50 feet in the air. Like what?
Yeah.
But that's not a thing that we've ever seen. But why is it that it was weird? There's that moment where Yelena Belova's on the ground and she's like holding her wrists up and she's electrocuting him or whatever. How is she stopping him from just crushing her because he's a huge guy with super soldier strength and just stabbing her in the neck? I don't understand this. Does that make sense to you? I couldn't understand. Like, what is he being stopped by? He's very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the electrocution is doing something I'm not wearing.
That was my assumption. Because like she has gadgets. She's like Inspector Gadgets.
Yeah.
And she's using
That's fair. That one is okay. I'll throw that off to the side. But the jumping in the air was weird. And the fact that she gets knocked across the room multiple times, I'm like, wouldn't she just be dead? You can have Yelena Belova as an incredibly trained soldier. She's amazing. She's a spy, whatever. It's awesome. She's great. I like also, by the way, the scenes in which they go back into the history. We talked about character development of each of the characters because Bob touches them and then they see the memories of their life. It's really cool and really neat and makes me want to go back and see what their lives are like. It actually reminded me of some of the scenes in Age of Ultron where Scarlet Witch is touching various characters and then they're kind of going back in time. And it's cool because it brings the past into the forefront in a weird way. Like it's very relevant because it's specifically what they're dealing with in like modern times. With the past and the present kind of colliding, which is cool. But yeah, anyway, there's one other thing with the power metric thing that really, it's not less of a power metric, but just didn't make sense. There's a scene where Bob is in the air. He flies up in the air because they shoot him after they leave the compound. And the team is driving their truck along the road. And Bob flies up in the air, but the soldiers would see him fly up in the air. But the other team is driving down the road. How the hell did they see him fly up in the air? There's just no way. It's dark. It's nighttime. There's no way. There's no spotlight on him. He's too high up. No one can see him. That's absurd. And then they're like, and then they look out the window like, uh-oh. And like, they can see him falling. No, you cannot. I just don't buy that for 1 second. It was the dumbest tiny plot hole. It's a nitpick in some way, but there's no way anyone would see that. If you can tell me that you would see somebody flying up in the air, like so fast and then falling down to the ground, no, you can't see that. They didn't even need that scene where they say, uh-oh. The guy hits the ground, the car crashes, and that's it. That's it. No one needs to see it. But they needed to see it because they needed to know that Bob that was the whole point. Superpowered. But you couldn't do that unless you saw him there, but they had to leave because they weren't going to let him die in vain. That just doesn't make sense, though. They should have been looking back and then saw him like through the back window or something. If somebody was in the trunk, then look at him kind of flying up and like, whoa, he just flew up in the air. That's the solution, that's really silly. I don't know why that was so sillily written, but that's not what the focus of this movie was. And that's what the problem with the power metric thing is. It's like there's like this there's these different focuses for each movie. Like Bravely Leaves the Nest, they were trying to make a point about how Sam is just as good as a super soldier, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, just because he's got conviction, he's a super soldier, and he doesn't have conviction. That's the funniest thing. He literally doesn't have any conviction, but they're like, he's got conviction, so he's as good as Steve. I'm like, but he's not, though, because he's not a super soldier, so he's not as strong as Steve. You can't make him as strong as Steve. You can make him stronger in other ways if you want, but that's your prerogative. You have to show us, the audience. Like, again, live within the physics of your world that you designed. That is an important thing for me. But that doesn't make this movie bad because it wasn't as broken as that movie. That movie is the worst power metric movie. And I keep saying power metric, and I should have described it better in the non-spoiler version of this to describe that for the audience that doesn't know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like one character is more strong than another character. Thor can fight Hulk. Which one would win? Those characters are fairly evenly matched, and you see them fight in the MCU. And who would win? That's a good question. But Iron Man fighting the Hulk, unless he's got the Hulk Buster, probably not going to work out. A super soldier fighting a regular human, the regular human has to be really agile and be dodging everything the super soldier does, or it's going to be bad news bears for them. They're going to be in bad shape. And so that's the problem, is that Yelena gets thrown twice. Meanwhile, later on in another fight with super soldiers, they're really wrecking soldiers up because they're the bad guys, and we need Yelena Belova to survive in this scene. And that's kind of the problem, is you need to make sure you match up where the matchups make sense. And if you don't match it up, you show that that one is overpowered over the other, and that there's stakes that are higher than for Yelena versus John Walker. John Walker's stakes were low because he wouldn't be killed by Yelena. She could have killed him if she shot him in the face, but she wasn't using a gun in that scene. So that's kind of my one gripe. It's not too major. The fight with Bob, the power metrics thing is interesting there. Bob is interesting because they gutted him. They nerfed him at the end because he's got a mental health issue where he has amnesia, and he also turns into a crazy psychopath in a strange way. Like he turns into an egomaniac basically, and someone who's like deeply depressed in those scenes when he becomes a superpowered guy. So he doesn't want to let himself become that. Or I suppose good Bob, who's deeply depressed, gets buried and then Sentry takes over kind of situation, or an alter ego situation. He's almost the Hulk. Sentry is the Hulk, essentially. He's got this like Jekyll and Hyde situation. So he can't turn. And I think that that's super interesting because he's so powerful. But we also wonder how powerful he is, because we don't really know, because he's not really fighting anyone of a substance. None of these people are that strong. Like you can have Bucky fight him, who's the most experienced of all of those guys, but it doesn't matter because Bucky's still just a super soldier. So like if Bucky was fighting Thor would rip his head off. Like it's like, what does that mean? But Thor fighting Sentry, that would be interesting. And I wonder, there was a lot of theories that they were going to do with Secret Wars, that they were going to have various Marvel heroes team up. Because there's I think Secret Wars, if I recall correctly, I think it's that one. Or was it the thing that got canceled? Kang Dynasty. I'm not sure. There was a theory that they were going to basically make all the heroes fight each other in like a Coliseum type situation. And that was what's going to happen when one of the villains takes over Earth. And so that could be very interesting if Bob is clearly in the cast for Doomsday as announced. Like Pullman. What's his first name?
Lewis Pullman.
Philip Pullman's the writer of his Dark Materials. Not that guy. So yeah, I said a lot there. Sorry. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think if they have in Doomsday, they have Doctor Doom take over and kind of have them fighting each other. It's like almost like a puppet master, because he captures them somehow. That would be interesting because Bob, I don't know how much use Bob's going to be in Doomsday. And if he does become Sentry, yikes, you know?
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm confused about. It's like, because he has his Sentry powers regardless when he's in regular mode. He just doesn't want to use them, right? Because he's worried that he might go crazy and become the Void, right?
Yeah, I think if he uses them at all in a substantial way, he'll become like almost power hungry and go for it.
Yeah.
But like him being invincible is good. That's fine. But which is good. He can't be harmed, I guess. But if he does something like tries to break a glass again or whatever it may be, then we could have a problem on our hands. You know, the world disaster. But
they just pop in there and hug him again. That's all you got to do.
Right. Seemed pretty hard the first time. It's interesting too. I will say about this, the movie's interesting because it again, like New York is very much the home of very many superheroes, but no one ever seems to come there. It's always that problem where like this is such a small time film in a weird way. Like nobody approaches, like there's so many heroes still. I know there's no Avengers, but nobody comes to save the day. I know it's very fast too, but no one showed up. Like,
I was
it
kind
always
of
happens
hoping,
this way.
Yeah, like I didn't think it was going to happen, but there's like a part where there's like a crane falling down.
Yeah.
When Sentry's kind of destroying the city, and I was like deep inside, I was like, oh man, this would be really cool if Spider-Man just came out of nowhere, just like held that crane back or something like that. But they don't do any of that.
Yeah, it makes sense that there should be someone there, because that honestly, if you think about what happened and how fast he was making those people go into the void, that was crazy. That's like it was what other, think about another villain that's done something as crazy as that in the MCU other than Thanos. Like, I'm trying to think, like, what other villain did something so crazy so fast in such a small span of time? I guess in Eternals they had that giant in the ocean, but he was in the ocean. It doesn't really affect anyone as drastically as this did. I'm just trying to think about
like Ultron with like the Sokovia, like bringing like an entire city up and just dropping it. And again, you can
but that was the Avengers, dude.
Yeah, again,
like
I was just going to reference the first Avengers with Loki sending in a bunch of aliens.
Oh yeah, 100%. But that's York, right? It is the Avengers, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, we have this like team of misfits trying to deal with this crazy entity, and they somehow did it, and they did it in the most like empathetic way possible, the most compassionate. That was the most compassionate that any Avengers have ever been, and it's a gang of misfits who shot Taskmaster straight in the head, point blank range.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the new Avengers though, dude. Yeah. So like technically this was an Avengers movie. Technically.
Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. Yeah. The funny thing is, like, the new Avengers is literally just a bunch of murderers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they have all done terrible things, every single one of them.
Just setting examples for kids. One shot to Taskmaster's skull at a time, you know?
Honestly. I genuinely love how they reference, like, John Walker, like, just brutally murdering someone in the street. Because I remember watching that episode of Captain Falcon and the Winter Man, being like, holy shit. Like, I'm shocked that they would go this far. And it's cool because they're like kind of redeeming this character, but he did awful stuff. All of them have. So
yeah, he was a dick even to them. He dropped them down the freaking elevator shaft.
Yeah.
You know, there's something neat though about like the way that they handle that. And again, the chemistry of them like bashing each other constantly. There's this like constant pitter patter of conversation where they're just making fun of each other the entire time. One of my favorite scenes is the scene where John Walker is talking about his freaking helmet in the back of the truck. It's just so good. There's just like a lot of like, it's really throwaway dialogue that's excellent. Like the jokes aren't excellent. Like none of them are amazing really, but they all work because they feel realistic. Because they're just making fun of each other.
It seems like they're always having genuine conversations based on like the situation they're in. It's not like
they feel real.
Oh, yeah, like let's not just do these random quips constantly. It's just like, yeah, I loved that scene because they're like, oh, like yeah, so it's like you like your hat or whatever, and like, well, it's a helmet. Like, oh, you think
you like your helmet?
Yeah. Like, it's just like this genuine conversation where they're like kind of like making fun of like Yelena and Ghost are making fun of him in the back of this truck, and then it like goes to the front, and you have Red Guardian talking to Bucky being like, oh, we can both be the leaders. It's like, but mostly you, like, but we can do this together. And I love how much he like Red Guardian loves Bucky and like almost idolizes him, because to be fair, like Bucky was around back in World War II as this like crazy Hydra agent, like, and Red Guardian kind of followed in his footsteps and like from a Soviet perspective. I don't know. I really like that. It plays. It
wasn't World War II. He wasn't Winter Soldier in World War II, but yeah.
Oh, what? Oh yeah, he dies in World War II.
Probably the Cold War. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it was the Cold War, which makes sense. Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, I really loved that. It's great. Yeah. I really like this movie. I'm glad that we watched it.
I also say like Bucky's scene where he's on the motorcycle is so cool. And the music beats with that were really great too. Like the choice of score, like they did a great job in that scene. Mm-hmm. And that's a great scene overall. Like there's this element of when he does that thing with the chain to like pull the truck and like stick it in the ground so that the truck gets wired and then it flips over.
Yeah.
It's just so badass. He's just a badass character. He's really cool. The one thing I'll say, you mentioned that Alexei likes Winter Soldier. That scene in the trailer where he's like, I love this guy, and he's laughing. I love that scene in the trailer. That's not in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Isn't
not,
that weird?
actually. Yeah,
That's an amazing scene. I'm waiting for that because I just think that his reaction there, everything David Harbour did, his accent, Yelena Below, like Florence Pugh and David Harbour, their accents are really good. Like they nail the dialogue. From my perspective, I'm not from Russia, so I don't know, but I just think they nailed that aspect of it, like quite a bit. Whether they were doing an emotional scene or they were, because it could have been in these emotional scenes, you could have just been like pulled in by their accent and how their accent's obviously not theirs, and then just been distracted by it. But it wasn't a distraction at any point. And during the comedic scenes, it just amplified the comedic scenes too. So it really worked for both sides. It's really impressive. I'll again say, like, Florence Pugh, especially the way that she showed her darkness and how lonely she is, and she's like looking for like a purpose. And how she jumps off the building and she almost seems like too tired to even do this. She's just wearing a tracksuit. And she's kind of going through the motions. There's that whole element in how she goes to visit Red Guardian and she's just trying to find a solution and she just can't find one. I don't know. Again, it's very relatable on a human level. And that's where these characters and their banter back and forth feel more relatable too, because they feel like real human beings that are flawed people. And not just some like superhero like Thor, who's like this golden child. Although they do show in the other MCU movies that these characters are flawed in other ways too. But in this one, they really focused on it. And that's the best part of it by far. And so to jump to the scores now, because I think you're done. I get the impression. We'll score this on our Rotten Potato score, your favorite title for a score aggregation here. I'll score it. I'm kind of conflicted, actually. So you know what? You go first. I don't know. I've been going between two, but I think I know what I'm going to go with. But I'll give you the first.
Yeah, I would give this like a solid 4 out of 5.
Okay.
If I'm rating it from just like a movie perspective, like if I was viewing this within just the confines of the MCU, I'd probably give it a higher score. But yeah, like just in general, it's a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. Great addition to the MCU. 4 out of 5.
Okay, awesome. I also give it a 4 out of 5. That's actually my score on Letterboxd, and it's excellent. Yeah, I have a few flaws with it. I mentioned them already, but I think that it's excellent. It's heartfelt. 4.0 out of 5, which makes our score an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Potatoes score, Adrian.
Potatoes.
Yeah, 8 out of
Fresh
10
potato.
Potatoes. It's a fresh potato, as you say. But yeah, okay. Well, cool. That's great.
Super
this
cool,
was a
man.
fun conversation. It was a good movie. I'm excited for the next one. Fantastic Four is going to be a big one.
Yeah, and I have Fantastic Four free movie tickets.
Wow. That was seamless.
Yeah, thank you.
That was a seamless sentence right there. Okay. Well, yeah, that's been our review of Thunderbolts asterisk. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
No, say it.
I can't say it because you can't spoil it. We can't spoil it yet now because after the scores, I'm trying not to spoil it because then I can timestamp it in the YouTube.
Oh,
the YouTubes. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, yeah, that's all. That's all I'm gonna say.
Because now I'm curious. Now that's gonna
no, that's it. That's all. That's all. Thank you so much for watching, audience. Thank you, Adrian, for joining me as always. And goodbye. Have a good day.
Take care. Goodbye. Thank you.
See you.
Just text it to me. I want to know.